What's up, everybody? We are back with another episode of the Pot of Aggieland. This is your host, Chase Lane. Yours truly, number 2 in the field, number 1 in y'all's hearts. Coming off a tough loss against Ole Miss this past Saturday, and I will be getting into that and everything else going around college football this past weekend. But as always, we're going to start with the quote of the day. The quote of the day of today's episode is, "Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is the gift. That's why we call it the present." So I'm saying it again. Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today is the gift. That's why it's called the present. And how this resonated with me is basically just the concept of being where your feet are. And being a player in Coach Fisher's offense and having to meet with Coach Fisher a lot, we've heard the term "be where your feet are" so much just because he's ingrained that in the culture of the program and things of that nature. But sometimes when, people are saying certain things, it can go over your head, especially if you're a younger guy and you don't really understand the message. But I really, as I've progressed and as I've gone through my time in college thus far, I've really seen the importance and why it's so important to be where your feet are. Because if you live in the past, then you'll never be truly ready for the opportunities that may present themselves in the future. But if you live in the future, then you can never really appreciate the present. And you can never really appreciate the past because you're never taking the time to appreciate where you've come from. So in this new phase of my life, because I think we go through phases in life and we go through chapters, I think I'm really focusing on being where my feet are and just, being present in each moment that I've been in. Because, you sometimes, and I've seen so many people say it, and if you live too fast and you never really take the time to, just stop and breathe and just be where you are, then life can really pass you up and you'll just go through so many different things and it can just pass you by. So I think it's so important for everybody to just be where their feet are, being present in today, because today is the present. So I'll say it again. The quote of the day is, "Yesterday's the past, tomorrow's the future, but today's a gift. That's why it's called the present." So that's the quote of the day. Hope it resonated with you guys in some kind of way. But as always, I'm always going to speak my mind about how it resonated with me. So moving forward, we had a crazy, crazy weekend in college football. Teams that were supposed to win, they took care of their business. So I'm not really going to get into things of that nature. But everybody, if you haven't seen it swirling on Twitter, the Michigan State Michigan fight, man, that was a crazy sight to see. And it's kind of like, I don't want to say like bro was stupid from Michigan, but he did go in there solo dolo. And it's like, I know if you guys are on Twitter and you've seen that meme, I'm not going to say it, but like, F around and find out. You go in there solo, like the odds are never going to be in your favor. So he went into their tunnel. And, Michigan State, like they got bad blood, obviously, two of the biggest universities in the state. Big rivalry game, as always. Michigan got the dub, duh. But, still, you never want to see that, and you never want to see anything like that. Like, okay, it looks dirty, man. And the dude was by himself, so it's like, in a way, he was almost defenseless. But, yeah, it's like, you F around, you're going to find out. So, man, I really hate that it had to go down like that because, Michigan State, and, I always talk about just how African-American coaches don't really get the same opportunities that you see other coaches getting. And, Michigan State, they do have a black head coach, and they're not having the season that they've been wanting to have thus far. And then you see his players do something like that, and then it's almost a reflection of the coach and of the culture. So Michigan State, man, like I'm familiar with him as a head coach, and it's kind of hard when you have things like that happen because so many things can get misconstrued about how you run a program and just the culture you bring and the culture that you've tried to have at your program. So hopefully everybody can get that cleared up, man. And them dudes over Michigan State. And then it's like, sometimes I'll just be thinking like, how can guys be so dumb? with the peak and with the pinnacle that social media is at today, it's like, how could you even allow yourself to do something like that and then think it's okay and then think that no one's gonna see it or find out about it? Like, man, everyone, like, and I remember, I don't know who told me this, but someone told me a long time ago that people are always watching, whether you know it or not. Someone is always watching. Someone is always recording. So you really got to be in your P's and you got to be in your P's and your Q's, man. And that's why, like, when I just see just so many bonehead things that just go on, like, for instance, like Jermaine Burton at Alabama, and, you know, all the things that he's going through right now with just the whole Tennessee post game and when he was on the field. And I'm not going to get into it, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, like, just like stuff like that, man, you really got to find a way to control your emotions. And I know that sometimes fans can provoke players, and that's a whole different topic, but you really got to do your best in today's age, you know, just control your temper, control your emotions, because someone's always watching and someone's always recording. And I'd hate to have something like that happen to me, and then that's the perception of who you are, because in today's society, perception is everything. So now people are going to be looking at those players from Michigan State like, oh, they're thugs, suspend them, this, that, and the third. But those could be scholar athletes, man, and you never know. So, you know, it's just a bad moment for Michigan State, and hopefully they can get over that hump, man. But moving forward, when I think about who should be the number one team in the country, it is actually the Tennessee Volunteers out of Knoxville, Tennessee. I think that they are the undisputed number one team in the country because you can just tell that they have a swagger about them and they have a confidence about them when they're out there and they're playing. I really feel like Tennessee is going to go on a deep run this year, and they could possibly run the table and end up winning the whole thing. So what I can tell you for sure is that the number one ranked team on Zillow in the Bryan-College Station area is the Hudson team. They lead the way based on sales volumes and the number of transactions done each year. They are a proud team of Aggies. Every member of the team is a former student of Texas A&M University. Our good friend over there is Alexis Knox. She is a broker associate and a realtor for the Hudson team with over 5 years of experience. She and the team help with any and all real estate needs, but especially love helping Aggies find their dream houses. And you don't need to be in the Bryan-College Station area to take advantage. They are also new to the Austin area and can help Aggies there as well. To learn more and to contact the Hudson team, you can call Alexis Knox at 281-745-0010. That's 281-745-0010. You can also find her on all social media platforms at Alexis Knox Realtor or at her website, alexisknoxre.com. We're so happy to have Alexis and the Hudson team as a sponsor. So please check them out if you're in the market for a new home or if you are looking to sell your home. Let's get into the game. So we had the number 15th ranked Ole Miss Rebels coming to College Station this past Saturday. Fans showed out like I challenged them on the last episode. Fans showed out. They were loud. They were into the game the whole game, and they were really there for us and through thick and thin, even though we didn't come out with the W. Let's get into the game and how it started. So Ole Miss marched down on the opening drive. They scored. Kind of felt like last week's kickoff return that South Carolina had against us, but we kind of expected that because, just watching film and just studying a team, we know that Ole Miss, they're really, really good on their first drives on their games, and more often than not, they're going to open up with some points. So they put together a really good drive. They, as I said in the last episode, their tempo was fast. They were getting the running game started, play action passes. They actually scored on a RPO wheel route, and it was like right up the sideline, like wide open. So, if you're familiar with Lane Kiffin, he's going to have those little dinks and dunks with the run game and some play action passes. And then when they get into the red zone, that's when they really like to get tricky. So, they had a really good first drive, but we didn't panic because we were expecting that. And Coach Fisher and Coach Coley actually came up to us on the sideline after they scored, and they were like, okay, hey, we knew this, like, let's go. And so we get the ball, and our focus and our emphasis of this game was we really wanted to speed up our tempo and we really wanted to, you know, get the play calls in, get the ball snapped, get the ball out of Connor's hands fast, just simplify everything for him, just being his first start and everything. And I'll be getting into his performance later, but that was a marvelous performance, I believe. But yeah, we really wanted to just get out running, and I've said it so many times during the show in the past, just how we need to just start fast, and I think we did just that. We came out on our first drive. We dinked and dunked them as well. We were moving down the field. We were moving the ball. We were executing the plays on offense, and we scored. And like I said in the last episodes, this past week of practice, we started out with a good-on-good period against the defense, and I really think that helped us. You know, just coming out the gate fast, you know, just seeing our defense and having to go out there and, you know, just go out there and execute our plays like we have to do in the game. And I really think that helped us this week. And because I think that was the first game that we actually came out and scored a touchdown on our first drive this season. And it's week 9, week 10, I think. So that's saying a lot. But yeah, that we were moving the ball with ease, I feel like, on that first drive. Oh my gosh. And I'm not going to get into the details about this, but we had one play in the red zone and I came in motion and I had to cut a guy, some big ass D lineman off the edge. And, you know, usually like I do this block always. I come in motion, I get set between the tackle, and then I come off the ball and I cut the guy, and I usually make the block. And I made the block again, really good block. We picked up the first down, I think, but oof, I took a shot. In my lower back. But, you know, I'm just doing my job for my team, and whatever my coach is asking me, I'm always going to do what they're asking me. So, so Moose Muhammad, he had a nice little post route. I came in motion on that one. It was actually an RPO, so we had a run design left, and Connor had the option to hand it off, or he could pull it and throw the post to Moose. So when I came in motion, we knew we were getting man because my guy came with me. So Moose was really just out there on the island by himself, and you know Moose went inside and went on the post, and Connor got it to him. So I think that was a really good confidence boost for everybody, not only the offense, but just Connor specifically, man, just not really getting to get a lot of action when he came into the South Carolina game, but he was taking reps with the ones this past week, and he looked really good in practice. So, and you could tell after he threw that touchdown, he was lit. So I knew after that Connor was going to have a really good night. And, you know, Connor's just a ball player. Like, he's so poised in the pocket, and he just has so much confidence in himself. Like, after Ole Miss scored on their first drive, he came to everybody and said, let's go, let's do this, let's go. So that just goes to show you that Connor is a true competitor, and he just loves the game of football. But moving forward, we come right back down. We got the turnover on downs. Our defense went out there and got us to stop, and then we drove down again. And Evan Stewart won a go ball 1-on-1 and came down with the one hand snag in the back of the end zone, and he got 2 feet in. So they pay guys to get 2 feet in. So word up to my guy Evan Stewart, man, true competitor, and he's a ball player. And we knew that coming in, that he was going to be a ball player, made those kinds of plays. But so at this point, first quarter, we're up 14-7. And I was really pleased with our performance as an offense. I think that we were moving the ball. I think that Connor was making good decisions. I think guys were executing on offense on all cylinders. I don't think we had any pre-snap penalties that we've been having in the weeks prior. I don't think we had any holding penalties or any self-inflicted wounds. So it seemed like the game was going our way, and we come into every game confident that we're going to come out with a victory. So at this point, I was extremely confident that we were going to finally get a dub, another SEC dub. So we're up 14-7. Defense is continuing to get some stops. They eventually get a field goal, and then it's 14-10 at halftime. Actually, I wasn't able to be in the locker room at halftime because I was doing some other things with my trainers. But knowing Coach Fisher and being around him, and to be in a situation like this, being up 14-10 against a good team, I can assume that the message was to, just go out there and finish. Because usually if we have a lead no matter if we're up by 3 points, if we're up by 1 point, if we're up by 50 points, Jimbo will always start the halftime speech when the team gets together, and he'll always say, defense, if they don't score, we win. So I can assure you that Jimbo says something along those lines, and the message really was just go finish. And I know that we wanted to do just that. I knew guys were really eager to get back out there and compete and, just put the game away. But, we had some miscues when we came out in the third quarter. Ole Miss, they scored. They go up 17-14. They're moving the ball. Their running game was ridiculous. I don't know how many yards they had on the ground, but I think it was like 400 something. So, our running defense has been shaky at times, and it's been dominant at times. But just last Saturday night wasn't our night defending the run, and their backs were able to get going. Zach Evans, a Houston guy, very familiar with him, being from North Shore, was committed to Georgia, and then he ended up at TCU, and then he transferred to Ole Miss. So he's been at some really good programs, and it seems like he's found his niche here at Ole Miss. But he played a tremendous game. Their other running back, number 4, he's a freshman, and he played a tremendous game. Jackson Dart, he also played a really good game, just being a great manager back there and making the throws when he had to make the throws, but he was also able to scramble and pick up a lot of yards on the ground when he had to do that. So, they went up 17-14. At the end of the quarter, they score again, and we haven't scored yet. They go up 24-14, and that's 17 unanswered points. And it's kind of hard to pinpoint what the problem was. Sometimes when you're just in the game, you just have those miscues, but in the moment, you don't see how major and how detrimental those miscues are until, they come back and actually score. So I think sometimes as an offense, we rely a little too much on our defense, because if we have a miscue, they'll get us a stop and we'll go back out there. But, it just wasn't our night on defense either. And they were able to move the ball and score. And we were just missing on, just some reads from the O-line to routes to signals, not getting signal to the receivers. And, it was a lot of different things that happened. And, we're a young group. We had a really young group out there because Noah Thomas, he started at my position for the remainder of the game in the second half, just because I was just going through some things on the sideline. But so we had a really young group out there. I think the oldest guy out there was Layden, and he's on the O-line, and this is only his second year playing. So, we're a really inexperienced group, but as always, I don't think that's an excuse, because we have to go up there and we execute because we run these plays in practice, and we got to be able to do it there on Saturday. So, we were able to stop the bleeding with my guy, Noah Thomas. He scored his first collegiate touchdown ever in Kyle Field at home. So, that kind of eased the pain a little bit and kind of gave us some breathing room. We cut the lead down to 24-21. It was a little motion. It was actually the same motion block that I do when I had to cut the guy, but he came back around across the line of scrimmage into the flats, and he was wide ass open. So big kudos to my guy Noah Thomas getting his first touchdown. Really proud of him, man. He's been through a lot in his short time here, but he stayed down and he stayed in his grind, and now the fans know who he is. So congrats to my guy Noah. So they were able to come back down again, and they were able to score, making 31-21. At this point, I think there was like 6 minutes left, something along those lines. And, then we get the ball back and we turn over on downs. And I think that was just poor execution on our part. I think we had the right play calls, just watching it in film. It seemed like we had the right play calls called. It just came down to execution. And that's something I've always been harping on. But, we got a young group out there, and it's coming along, though. And it's coming along. That's all I can really say about that. But we get the ball back. We were to put together 10 plays, an 80-yard touchdown drive, a little flare route to Devon Chain out of the backfield, and we scored with a minute and 25 left, and it was 31-28. So, we felt like we still had some life, and we still felt like we could at least tie the game and get our kicker into field goal range, because he's been really solid for us this year. So defense, they're able to get us a stop, and we got the ball back with 49 seconds. So, oh man, that last drive, we got backed up deep. We did not start the drive in great field territory. I don't think we had any timeouts left. So it really did come down to execution on that last drive. And, you know, they were blitzing because, like I said, they're going to blitz on every play. And Connor was getting a lot of pressure, and he was having to make quick decisions. And, you know, just being a first-time starter, that can be nerve-wracking at times. You know, it's a hostile environment. But we ended up losing 31-28. And even though I'm not a fan of moral victories, I think that we showed a lot of promise with our performance. And when I say with our performance, I'm talking mainly about the younger guys, especially on offense. You look at Connor's numbers, he put up 338 yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, was making smart decisions for most of the night. And it's almost like one of those things where you have this hype about a player coming out of high school, and then he gets here and it's all true. Like, he is box office, as Stephen A. Smith would say. He's box office. He's a ball player, and he's got that swag about him that you like to see in your quarterback. And he's always going to be confident in himself. He's going to be confident in his guys around him, and he just wants to go play ball. Like, we could be down by 50, and he just wants to go out there and play ball. So he was able to go out there and make tremendous throws for us. Evan Stewart's another guy. He had another great game. He had 8 receptions for 88 yards, 1 touchdown, a one-handed snag touchdown in the back of the end zone. He had a big major snag similar to what he did at Alabama a couple weeks ago. And, you know, and those guys right there, man, are truly the future of this program. And that's another guy who I think is box office is Evan Stewart, man. And those guys are just showing a lot of growth right now and maturity in such a short amount of time. And, you know, even though our record's 3-5 right now, and we're kind of the punchline of a lot of jokes on social media and things like that. I think that going forward for the years to come, that this group's going to be a group to reckon with, like, for real. And they got a lot of talent. Another guy, Moose, he had 8 receptions for 112 yards or something like that. And, you know, Moose has been solid thus far this year since his numbers have been called. So another guy who is just really coming into his own and just really being that playmaker that we saw, or that we knew behind the scenes, but not everybody else is getting to see. So really proud of those guys, man. All 3 are tremendous ball players, and I'm really, really excited for their futures. Yeah, so this has been another episode of the Pod of Aggieland. I apologize for this being delayed, guys. I had some things I had to tend to yesterday, but I'm really looking forward for you guys to hear this episode. And yeah, we are out. Peace.
Yeah, this is perfect.